Hey guys, MentalReach here. I bet you want to be rich, huh? Don't you just want to be able to give your child a small loan of $1 million and call it a day? When we're children, we're taught that in order to have the perfect life, we have to go to school, get high grades, graduate from college, and then get a good job that might make us happy. And although that choice can make someone financially independent, it's not the only choice we have to get some extra money into our pockets. In fact, a major problem in the education system is teaching people how to work for money instead of the opposite. And we're taught as young kids that in order to have the perfect life, you have to find the perfect job that will let us buy a house, or dream car, or whatever you want. And kids even today are led to believe that the only way to succeed is through college. And although school can educate people on how to split the atom, they rarely teach them how to handle a dollar. And this is why people get trapped at their jobs, living from paycheck to paycheck throughout their lives. For example, Jimmy might know his entire Greek history, but he doesn't even know how to read the history of his own bank statement. What the phooey, mate? You see the problem here, right? Jimmy's priorities are set in the wrong field as an adult. Unless it's part of his job, Greek history is not going to prepare him later on in life. And a problem with working for money is that a job is a short solution for a long-term problem. For example, people think if they could just get a raise or a new job, they will finally have enough money to live happily ever after and never have no more problems again. But if someone doesn't even know how to operate money, they'll never have enough to satisfy themselves. You can make $10,000 a month, but can still be as poor as the man who only makes $1,000 a month. How? Money alone doesn't solve anything, nor will it get you out of debt. And in Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he offers a way to get out of this nasty situation and how to get rich without depending on college. And the first part is, learn from experts of the game. In the book, Robert compared two dads based on the way they lived. One dad had a PhD, but he lived like a poor man because he was constantly living from paycheck to paycheck. He believed in working for money because that was the only way he knew how to live. And although the poor dad did manage to become financially stable, by the time he had died, he had a mountain of debt still on him. Now the next dad Robert talks about is someone who didn't even graduate from high school, but had believed in the same value of education that the poor dad believed in. The only difference he believed in is the importance of having money work for you rather the opposite. This eventually led him to some cash and made him rich. Now you may be wondering, what the heck happened? How did some high school dropout become rich as the guy with the PhD died in debt? After all, that's what I'd be thinking if I heard that. You could have 20 master degrees, but none of that would matter if your belief systems suck. And no, I'm not going to give you some, if I believe in myself, then it will happen type of situation. I'm not really into that type of belief, and I kind of think it's stupid overall. Gaining wealth requires smart choices to take action on and learning from your own mistakes. But if you learn from the wrong person, it can set you on the poor man's path. For example, you can have one person teach you how to make an awesome job resume that might even get you a decent job somewhere. Or you can have someone teach you how to make an awesome business plan that will most likely make you money every time you apply it. Although learning how to make a job resume and business plan both are two great skills to learn, they can lead you to two totally different lifestyles. One will always be pointing towards you working for money, whether it be working for a company or a fast food place. As the other will point you towards a lifestyle that has money coming your direction based on your own set of actions. Now the poor dad believed he would never be rich, so he never even bothered to learn the skills that can make him money. And if you learn from someone who has this mentality, then you're bound to follow their footsteps too. Thus, find someone like the rich dad, who believed he was rich even when he was dirt cheap poor. The power of our own beliefs can factor our lives once we become strongly aware of them. That means read books based on people who acquire wealth and determine what actions they took to get there. Continue learning every day from people who have money work for them rather than those who work from paycheck to paycheck. The next point is limit liabilities and buy and build assets. Although people believe money is the root to solve their problems, if they have no idea how to spend it, they make small mistakes that eventually lead to big problems. They spend it on useless things that eventually causes them to fall into debt, and this is known as a poor man's mistake. They continuously spend their money on liabilities, which are items that don't place money back into their pockets. those items could be giant TVs, iPads, or those freaking hoverboards that everyone seems to be buying these days. And although a person can appear to be rich by buying a big house, a fancy car, or expensive clothing, if they depend on their jobs just so they could continue affording those items, they live in the poor man's mentality. They get trapped in what Robert calls the rat race. It's when people remain poor because they continue working for money. You see, you can have an awesome job that pays you $100 grand a year, but if you spend most of it on useless items that trap you into debt, you won't be any richer than someone who only makes $1,000 a month but manages to pay the bill and still have some extra cash in their pocket to do something. The thing that sets rich people apart is that they spend their money on items that can make them money. They turn items into assets, which is pretty much a tool to bring cash into their own pocket. For example, they spend the money on businesses, stocks, ebooks, or pinball machines because they know all those items will accumulate money for them over time. They then spend the money that they make from those assets or even more assets that will produce more cash flow back into their pockets. I hope I didn't lose you. Let me give you an example. Back when I needed a way to get some extra cash in my own pocket, I didn't like the idea of getting a second job like my friend did, because I knew I would work continuously for the same wage, like it wouldn't end, which was something I so didn't want. I wanted something to make me money even while I slept. So instead, I decided to make a website that would generate money for me. And I spent a huge amount of time learning how to create a website, getting people on there, and buying the products that I advertised there. That way, as I did my own things throughout the day, I could get that bubbly feeling knowing I was making money 24/7. And that feels freaking awesome. So, avoid buying items that can become a major burden for you in life, like an expensive house, a sexy car, or a live band to sing for you at bedtime. And the last point he makes is, make a habit to keep most of your money. Now let's be honest, I'm sure you bought something stupid in the past and regretted it. I once bought a video game because I liked the cover, but I never even bothered to play it. That kinda sucked. But a habit that broke people can't escape from is spending more money than what they could afford. They work day after day just to get that raise, and by the time they do get that raise, rather than spending it on something productive, they spend even more money throughout the week on useless items that won't do anything for them. They justify buying those little items because it costs just a little bit of money, or maybe it was on sale. But whether something is on sale or not isn't really a reason to buy anything if it doesn't do nothing but give you a small dose of happiness. Let's say you make $3,000 a month and spend $1,500 for your home, $700 for all those little irritating bills, and then $300 for groceries. This leaves you with $500 left for personal items. And rather than spending that $500 for the newest iPhone 8000, invest $200 on some name brand clothing at some local thrift shop, $200 for a nice camera, and then sell those items on eBay or Craigslist to make twice the money back. This is known as the good old market flipping trade. But you don't have to do that. There's many ways to make a business with the small amount of cash you have. You just have to find the best way to make it work for you. Take for example Warren Buffett. When he was a young lad, he would rent out a small pinball machine, install it somewhere, and let it make money for him automatically. And when he collected the profit, instead of spending that money on useless items, he would buy another pinball machine and put that pinball machine somewhere else and repeat the process all over again. Remember folks, money can't make you rich. It's the way you spend it that determines your wealth. If you want to be rich, you can't rely on getting promotions or working for money. You have to create a cash flow and have your assets work for you. And although college isn't truly what determines your wealth value, your education does. If you want to be rich, you have to continue learning what other rich people are doing. You have to study how they started their business and what mistakes they made, and what you can learn from them. If you spend your time learning from people who preach that you have to have a college education to have a happy life, then you're settling for a mediocre lifestyle that most of society follows. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it, but it's not the path of the rich man. And that's Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed. If you have a book you want to see in the future, write a comment below, hit the like button, and subscribe. And as they say in Goat Island, hit you where the gold flows, show flows, whole rose? Yeah, that's confusing by itself, mate.